Alright, so I know this is sort of an impromptu video. I try to put my videos in my calendar at least the day before I do them. But sometimes some breaking news comes out and I only put them in a couple hours in advance, and you'll get that sometimes. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I found out, I went on Bleacher Report and saw this story about all these superstars that got released. And divas. I think there was one diva in there. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is a pretty big list too. I mean, these are jobbers for the most part, but still, some of these people were on TV currently. So I mean, this is it was pretty shocking to me. I was shocked to see some of the people on the list. Some of these people were in current storylines on Raw. So and some of these people I don't agree with that should have gotten released. But yeah, here I'm just gonna talk about it, go through it, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this. The first person released was Brodus Clay. Now, I think Brodus Clay, they brought him in, and they made him like this fucking dancer, this babyface dancer, and it was just retarded as fuck. I mean, he was just dancing around the ring, and then they put him with Tensai, and it was just more stupid, and they pretty much fucked him up. I mean, you have no chance of succeeding, or very little chance of succeeding in WWE if you're a dancer gimmick, and especially if you're a big 400-pound monster like Brodus Clay, and that's what he is. I remember CM Punk cut a promo on Raw, and he's like, "Oh, Brodus Clay, he plays with little children, but he's actually a 400-pound monster," and it's like, he is. He should have been used as like this big monster heel, and it might have worked. I'm not a big fan of big wrestlers or anything like that, because I think they're slow and they, most of the time suck, like the Big Show, or, I'm not a fan of him because he's slow in the ring. And you always hear the excuse, oh, he's 500 pounds, he can't wrestle that good. Like, yeah, well, maybe he's good for a 500-pounder, but he's not good for fucking, or 450 pounds, whatever the fuck he is. But he's not good for, fucking the typical wrestler I'm looking for. It's like saying, oh, you're a good wrestler for an 80-year-old man. Let's have you on Raw. That's the same mentality that people do when they say that. But yeah, I think Brodus Clay could have been used better. Maybe as a monster heel. They started doing that, they turned him heel, but they didn't even... See, that's what they do. They turn somebody heel and they don't even fucking try it. Then they just put him down in NXT, and it's like, really? You're going to turn him heel and then not even put him on TV? So, it's not really Brodus Clay's fault. We never really got to see his true talent level. So, yeah, it's a disappointment, I think, that they fired Brodus Clay before they even really gave him a legitimate, released him, before they even gave him a legitimate chance. Next one was Camacho. Didn't really see a lot of Camacho. He was Hunico's, side guy. He rode on the bike with Hunico when they came down to the ring. But I didn't really see a lot of Camacho. But it's not like he was horrible, I don't think. But I don't think he was good. But he wasn't good. So this him being released, I sort of agree with, I guess. But I didn't really see a lot of him. He was just mostly a jobber in jobber matches. But it's not like he was horrible or anything, but he wasn't good. So it's like, yeah, him getting released isn't that big of a disappointment to me. Then we have Kurt Hawkins. I haven't really watched Kurt Hawkins that much, so I can't really comment on this. But yeah, he's released. I had never fucking even saw him wrestle, maybe once or twice. So, but I'm not gonna even comment on this because I've never even watched him wrestle before. Evan Bourne. I actually never watched Evan Bourne wrestle either. So I don't really want to comment on this one too much either. But it looked like he had talent. I mean, a lot of people are saying, or I think I've seen some people say he's pretty good, and he looks pretty good too. He can do the shooting star press pretty. He's got that shooting star press, which it doesn't look like it's an easy move to do. So I mean, he's probably got some talent. You know, he's probably got some talent, and now they just released him. I remember he got injured or something, and never even at least fucking return him. You know, give him a chance, give him a few months, and if he sucks, fine, release him. But it's like, why don't you just give him a fucking chance for a couple months? I know he's been getting into a lot of fucking trouble with, you know, I think he's gotten like some drug charges, or he's got suspended because of drugs, you know, or steroids or something like that. He's broken the wellness policy, I think that's what it's called. But, you know, give him a fucking chance. Few months, you know, if he fucking does the drugs again or whatever, release him. Then you could release him. Or if you think he sucks, then fine, release him. But I think you should just give him a chance, and maybe he would have done good. But it's like, you know, you might as well give him a chance. I mean, come on. You got this huge fucking roster. You got all these fucking shows, Raw, SmackDown, Superstars, NXT at main event. I mean, you could have given him a chance, alright? Then we got Yoshitatsu, which again, I've never really seen a lot of. I heard, you know, from one person, the Solid Monster, who does a podcast. I was listening to his podcast. I think this was like a few months ago. And he said Yoshitatsu had talent in Japan. He wrestled, I think, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I guess he probably has some talent too. You know, since he has come from a pretty big wrestling promotion. You know, most people in those like Ring of Honor, New Japan. You know, I'm assuming that most people in New Japan Pro Wrestling are pretty good wrestlers. You know, Kenta I think is in there, and I think he's a pretty good wrestler, from what I've heard. So I'm assuming he's at least got some talent. You know, and they pretty much just jobbed him out to people. And again, I haven't seen enough of him to really say a legitimate opinion on him. So, yeah, but I think, you know, you could have found room for Yoshi. You know, give him a retarded name too, Yoshi. Isn't that the guy on Nintendo, Super Mario, the turtle, Yoshi? I think that's what... Yeah, you named him a retarded ass name. I mean, that's a fucking bad start for... You know, you just look at the name Yoshitatsu. Like, this guy's not going far in WWE. You can't go far with a name Yoshi. I mean, that's just a retarded name. Then we got, next, Jinder Mahal. You know, and this was a shock to me, because he was on the main... he was on, not a main storyline, but he was on a storyline on Raw with 3MB and the Matador. The Matadors, or whatever they're called. So this is a shock to me that they released him in mid-storyline. And he wasn't bad either. He had some talent. It was just he was weighed down by the retarded-ass gimmick. So again, WWE gives their superstars a retarded gimmick. They can't fucking do anything because they're so weighed down by the retarded gimmick. And nobody's going to like them because of the retarded gimmick. And so they're just fucking not going to really succeed with this gimmick. And, you know, they just release them. They don't even really give them a legitimate chance. They just put them in this retarded gimmick where the three people go around the ring dancing, singing songs, whatever. And it's just bad. It's not good. You know, I think he has talent. He has some talent. And you could have stuck him around. You kept him around. You know, again, you got like 5 fucking shows a week. You know, might as well use him, you know. Next one. Drew McIntyre. Another guy who had, did I say Drew McIntyre? You know, I think I might have said Drew McIntyre. I don't know. But yeah, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal both got released. But yeah, 2 guys who I think, oops, I clicked off the thing. 2 guys who I think have talent there. Drew McIntyre and Jinder, or at least some talent. Again, you know, you got 5 spots on the fucking, or 5 shows on the fucking, during the fucking week. You know, you might as well fucking keep them. I think they're pretty good, actually. You know, they have, maybe not pretty good, but they're, you know, they have some talent. They're not horrible. So I think if you would have just get them out of this 3MB gimmick, give them a chance, give them a few months. Don't give them like a week or 2 to, you know, a chance. Give them a few months to fucking wrestle. See what they got. If they fucking suck, then drop them. Release them. But I think they wouldn't fucking suck. I think they would actually be, decent. Or even okay, I think they have what it takes to be in the fucking company. Then we got Oksana getting released. And this is the only one I'm really glad about. Like, very glad about. Because Oksana fucking sucked. She couldn't fucking wrestle. She wasn't even that hot. I see other people saying she was hot. I didn't even think she was that hot. She wore like fucking a lot of clothes when she went down to the ring too, which I didn't like. But yeah, I'm glad Oksana got released. Not that hot a girl, not a horrible fucking wrestler. So I'm glad she got released. She deserved to get released. Then the last one is Teddy Long. Teddy Long isn't horrible. He wasn't really, great or anything. But I think, he's better, If you're going to release Teddy Long, you might as well release Brad Maddox, But, I can see where they do this. Because Teddy's, like, there's nowhere really to put him anymore. I mean, he's done his job. He's been SmackDown GM. And they've moved on, really. So, I could see where they do this, but, if you're going to keep guys around like Brad Maddox, Teddy Long is just as good as Brad Maddox, I think. It's not like Brad has that much talent. I mean, he's supposed to be great and everything, but he's not. He hasn't really shown me that much talent. So yeah, it's disappointing to see, all these people get released. I'm sure that they were disappointed to get released, and I hope they have a lot of money, have some money. I'm sure a lot of these guys like McIntyre and Mahal have a decent amount of money, but hopefully they could find. I'm sure they will find jobs and shit, more, get some appearances. But, I also want to say, when you got guys like the Great Khali on the fucking roster, who's like fucking, looks fucking half retarded. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to like fucking demonize the Great Khali, but he looks half retarded. Maybe even fully retarded. Like, he doesn't even fucking speak, really. He can barely fucking walk. He can't even walk right, and they have him on the fucking roster still. I mean, and then they release all these guys over him. Sometimes with this why is Great Khali still on the roster? And then you got guys like Mojo Rawley on the roster. Really? Mojo Rawley fucking sucks. Cannot fucking wrestle for shit on the fucking roster. And you got other guys who, there's a ton of guys on the roster I can't think of, but a ton of guys that probably should have been released over these. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 9 guys. So yeah, why isn't the Great Khali being released? Why aren't some of those jobbers in NXT being released? Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys in the company, or at least some guys, who are less talented than these 9 guys that were released. So yeah, I just wanted to, make this video to say that, basically, make that point, that there's guys in the company that are less talented than these guys that were released. It's like the Great Khali, prime example right there. Fucking retarded Great Khali, fucking sucks. Cannot fucking wrestle, can't even fucking walk right. He's still in the company, he still has a job. I mean, release him already. Where people are like, oh, he's messed up, Give him health treatment then, WWE. Pay for his health treatment then. Alright? Or I'm sure he has enough money to do it himself because he's been in the company so long. But it's just retarded how you got people in the company with talent, and then they get released like this, or they're not given a legitimate chance to succeed. So it's sort of a disappointment to me, but again, I mean, these 9 guys are pretty much jobbers, so it's not really going to affect me that much. But I think they could have succeeded a little bit more in the company if given a proper chance. So there's my video on these random various superstars that were released.